Hey everybody, welcome to Behind the Mask. I'm your host, Brandon Gibson. Today we're here in beautiful Glendora, California on a perfect day. You couldn't get a better day than this. A better day to go inside Boneyard Effects. Literally making history every year. Film, television, epic events like Halloween Horror Nights. We're going to go inside and talk to the man himself, Larry Bones, and find out what goes on behind these closed doors. And hopefully by the end of the day, I'm going to look a lot more dead. Let's go. Here we are right inside Boneyard Effects with the man himself, Larry Bones. Larry, thanks for letting us in to play around today.
Absolutely.
Okay, now looking back, I see all kinds of incredible stuff in here. How long have you been into this?
I've been into this since I was a very small child. I've always loved horror movies and playing in Play-Doh and things like that, so it was just a natural fit.
See, I've always said it always starts with Play-Doh. When did you, going back into the history of this thing, when did you build your first mask or prosthetic, and what was it?
Actually, it was in Oregon before I moved down to California. I'd been reading all the books I could, soaking up as much knowledge, so I actually started up there. And it was actually very crude and rough, and I saw, okay, I need training. So moved on to California, I did.
What was it? What did you...
It was actually a devil demon I did on a friend of mine up there. It was very crude, but it was a start.
And what did you make it out of?
It was actually out of whatever clay I could find at the art store. It was nothing like we use today. It was modeling clay of some type, a little above Play-Doh, just a little.
A little above Play-Doh, baby steps. Okay, now I want you to walk us through the process of what it goes through to make a mask. I don't know, what is this guy back here? He's been whispering things at me. Do we know this guy?
Absolutely. This is one of our generic head forms. We use this in our spray booth for spraying full head masks. So what we'd normally start with was we'd just come up with an idea, a concept to some degree. And what we do is come over here and we'll start with like a full head form like this, which we actually will create the sculpture on. We use an oil-based clay. We use these actually melting pots right here so we can soften it up to kind of speed up the process. Many times you'll have only maybe 2 days to do a full head sculpture.
Wow.
So we need speed. So we start with the melted clay rather than have to knead it by hand.
So this is it just feels like just hard clay.
Absolutely.
Right, that's all it is. Okay. And then you put it in the melting pot there, and this is what it looks like when it.
Yeah, like this would be like a full head form. This is actually made out of the same material.
Oh wow. Wow, that's dense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just got a shiny surface on it. We made it with a crystal clear coat before we did a mold with this particular piece.
Okay. All right. Good. So this is not for fondue.
This is not for fondue.
Okay.
Do not put your turkey in this unit.
We're at the molding department. What happens now once we get to the molding department?
After the sculpture is completed, it comes over here to the molding department where they have to create a negative. Basically, the mold is the representation of the sculpture itself. So they're doing stone work on here and creating a negative mold that actually then goes off to the foaming station.
Foaming station. Now, what is all this stuff over here?
Now, these would be a representation of many of the molds that we made in this section. So these are all ultra-cal molds, and these are basically ones that have been wrapped up and retired and ready to go off for storage for the year.
Okay, gotcha. So these are different heads, and I see different bodies and things like that. So now you were explaining to me a little bit earlier what happens with these things. Like a big syringe or injection thing happens with some of these?
Absolutely. So like one of these things, it would be really difficult. We need to get foam inside of this, foam rubber. So right. It would be very difficult to get the foam rubber in here and get all the pieces of the mold slapped back together. So they do this completely strapped together and use a gigantic syringe and inject foam inside of these molds before they can go off to the ovens.
All right, so here we are in foam, where we're not actually in foam. We're not.
Literally.
I don't think I have to explain that. Okay, so I see this thing right here. Now this is what you talked about earlier. This almost looks like something from a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
It absolutely does. This is our gigantic foam syringe gun. So the foam is mixed up into these mixers, put into this big syringe, and injected into the molds.
And just hold that up and let's get a good look at this. Insert your own joke here. All right, so from foam, you get the foam done, you get the big giant thing. Where do we go after that?
At that point, the molds go over to our oven banks.
To the oven. Let's go to the oven. All right, here's the oven.
Here's the oven. One of our mini ovens. These are basically, after the foam has been put into these molds, they need to be heated and cooked up to be cured. So these things get filled up every day and basically run for about 5 hours to cure off the foam.
All right, now you were telling me earlier, usually when you think of an oven, you think of high temperatures and things like that. Obviously, you said this thing can get super hot, but usually what do you cook these things at?
We try to keep these things at only about 135 degrees Fahrenheit. They'll cook fine. It takes a little bit longer, but it's a little bit easier on the molds and make them last a little bit longer.
And how long does it take each piece generally to get cooked?
Basically, we run them overnight. Basically, so at the end of the day, we turn on these ovens and we come back in the morning and everything's ready to go, ready to open up and start the process over again.
Here we are at patching and painting. Now, Larry, you do a lot of work for Universal Studios, and if anybody's ever heard of Horror Nights or been to Horror Nights, Halloween Horror Nights, you're the man.
I am, absolutely.
You create all these things. Now, I was there last year. I was a ringmaster, and you created my face and ears and my whole get-up and everything for that. This was one of the clowns that was in the section I was in. This is Bernie. Now, this is what Bernie looks like, pre-painted and just with no special stuff done to it other than the mask being made. So what happens? How do we get Bernie from the Bernie we know here to the Bernie we knew at Halloween Horror Nights?
Well, this basically is how it's going to come out of the oven. So when it comes out of the oven banks and the negative molds are removed, this is what's going to be inside. So they'll come over here, and what they're going to do is they're going to take this little seam line or any imperfections, if there's any bubbles in this, and they're going to take this down and get this thing completely smooth and perfect. And that it's going to be ready to go off for paint.
All right, so here we are in painting, and boy, this guy. Now listen, everybody knows that I'm a big Florida Gators fan, and something tells me that there's a lot of people that see me this way during football season. What do we got here?
This is a character from Horror Nights. This is our lizard boy. So what you see here is actually after it has been patched and painted, and what we've got here is finished look with a little bit of its hair works done over here. So it's basically a completed look at this point.
This is incredible. So all this stuff is hand painted? How is this done?
It's actually it's a combination of airbrush work and hand painting. All these little teeth are cast separately and individually packed into place. And then the hair is actually glued down and then punched in individually.
Now, how long, like this one in particular, what's the start to finish time on a piece like this?
It's going to take probably about 3 days, full days for someone.
3 days?
3 full days of someone working on this.
And you can really see it. I mean, there's a lot of detail in the teeth. There's a gloss or some sort of shine or something in the teeth that make them look, they make them look real.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's one thing we try to do, even if it's a fantasy character, is to try to bring as much realism as we possibly can into the character.
So 3 full days. So you guys, obviously you make the mask, and do you like to make a solid piece too for some of these things, just to keep it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like some of our favorite characters, like this one is one of my favorite ones. So we did a display piece just for the shop, just to have around, someone to talk to at night.
That's right. Okay, so once we get it done from here, so that's pretty much where the whole thing is completed. It's finished right here, right?
Absolutely. Once it's done here, we actually put it onto our shelves and get it ready to go. We do about 200 of these things every year. So you can see that these shelves will be completely full by the time we're done.
Where do you put everything? I mean, it looks like that. That would take up a lot of space. Now, this over here, these are the difference. This is the silicone here.
Yes. Now you see our rainbow clowns and our semi-straight edge. These are going to be silicones. These are much more stretchy, much more skin-like than foam. This stuff also has a 20-year shelf life. So once we have these masks, as long as they don't get tore up, these things are going to last for quite a long time.
20 years.
20 years.
So versus those, the other ones, the foam ones, you can't reuse those. You take them off and they're done.
Absolutely. And the fact, at the end of Horror Nights, these things have been absorbed so much sweat from the actors that these things, no one wants to touch them. So these get trashed, where these can just be wiped out.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible. And look at just the detail in these things. It's incredible. That's crazy. I went to school with a guy that looked like this. I didn't really. I didn't go to school. Okay, cool. All right. Well, you're gonna change me a little bit today. Is that right?
I am.
What are you gonna change me into?
We're gonna turn you into a zombie.
I'm gonna be a zombie. So go ahead now. Just tell them, say it now. Okay. Hi, my name is Brandon, and this is my dating profile. I am a doctor, well, medical student. I'm studying my medicine. Can I start over? What I'm really looking for in a woman is someone that can keep a secret. I prefer not to date someone who has cats. I do like leftovers. I'm not one of those people that let things go to waste. Don't use this. Is that better? You just don't want to see that end? This end's okay. Okay. I just got out of a long-term relationship. Well, it's very short-term. You ever heard of Craigslist? I still use MySpace. I check it every day because you never know what kind of person you can find there. Describe my ideal date? Okay. Well, I guess for me, my ideal date would be. I just pooped my pants. Can we take a break? So here you go, kids. This is what Larry Bones thinks I would look like if I were to come back to potentially eat his face. Fine job, sir.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. Now, obviously, you see me differently than my wife because you see me as a doctor. My wife sees me as somebody who plays around and gets paid up all the time. So thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
So listen, tell us about where you got the idea for the creation for this guy.
It's actually, the facial appliance is actually going to be a zombie I'm going to be doing at Monsterpalooza. So I just basically took that piece and added stuff to it. The wig, bald cap, things along those lines.
So we're going to see a variation of this when we see you at Monsterpalooza.
Absolutely.
Oh, excellent. And here's one thing that you notice, that even though I am in fact dead, I'm still losing my hair. I can't get away from it. Damn it. So this has been fun, man. This has been a lot of fun. Boneyard Effects. This is where you can get this stuff. You want to throw us a little plug real quick?
Absolutely. You can visit our website at www.boneyardeffects.com.
Boneyardeffects.com. And people can get this stuff online as well, some of these things.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, I'll tell you what. I would really hate to see this go to waste. So what do you say you and I go have a little fun?
Sounds like a plan.
We're going to go have fun. What this is, a beam of something. It's creeping me out. That's a real place. How you doing? Good. You know, I was going to get a lotto ticket, but I don't think it's going to do me any good. What? No, I'm good. I was going to get a lotto, but I don't know how much longer I'm going to be around. All right, thank you.